There we go. Okay, good evening, everybody. The Fauquier County School Board meeting is called to order, and at this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Wolf if she would lead us in the pledge.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Donner, if you would please take the roll and record, and at this time, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the school board adopt the agenda as written.
Second.
Motion and a second that the agenda be adopted as written. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, and the motion carries. And we'll move into a presentation, and I believe Pam Pulver, you're going to do the introduction.
Thank you very much. The first time that we were really exposed to the people from Dominion Power was in their Project Planted things that they do in the county. And we, last year, instead of having only 4 or 5 schools involved in that, we had 7. And that was really, really, really good. And that was the first time that our teacher from Greenville Elementary School, Jean Turney, got the word about the grants that are available through the Dominion Educational Partnering. So Jean went ahead and wrote a grant for a garden at Greenville Elementary School. And this garden is between the 3rd and 4th grade areas. It's kind of like a courtyard, but it's open on one end. And she had the design for this garden, this discovery garden, as they're going to call it. The good thing was, or the wonderful thing was, they had $2 million in requests for this through 11 states. And there were 9 schools in the Northern Virginia area that got it. And so I would like to introduce Tim Sargent, who's the manager for state and local affairs from Dominion Power, and Jean Turney, a teacher from Greenville Elementary School. And I'd like Margie, would you please come up and stand with Jean too, because she's very instrumental, the principal from Greenville, in encouraging Jean to move forward on this. Great, thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Who's taking photos? Where's Karen?
I'll defer to you, Tim.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, members of the board. It's one of the favorite parts of my job is providing grants. And one of the fun parts was working with folks who were so enthusiastic and so dedicated about it. The Dominion Educational Partnership is about incentivizing, revitalizing, adding to the teaching of math and science through the study of energy and the environment. And we, as Pam pointed out, we provide these grants across the areas where we have businesses. The exciting thing about this grant to help with this garden is that it's in the amount of $5,000.
Oh, wow.
So we're very thrilled and very glad to be part of this and look forward to a few more applications too.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Everybody smile.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, at this time, we move into announcements, and they will be slightly different than what you're seeing up on the screen, so everybody pay attention. The Finance Committee will meet Thursday, September 13th at 4:30 in the School Administration Conference Room. The September Personnel Committee meeting is canceled. The Mountain Vista Governor School Governing Board will meet Thursday, September 13th at 8 a.m. in the Warren County School Board office. The September Building Committee meeting is also canceled. Chairman's Night is Monday, September 24th at 5 p.m. in the School Administration Conference Room. There will be a school board work session on Monday, September 24th at 6 p.m. in the School Administration Conference Room. There will be a school board, Board of Supervisors Liaison Committee meeting Wednesday, September 26th at 5 p.m. in the School Administration Conference Room. There will be a Health Advisory Committee meeting Wednesday, October 3rd at 8 a.m. in the Central Complex Meeting Room. The Special Ed Advisory Committee will meet Wednesday, October 3rd at 5:30 p.m. in the Central Complex Meeting Room A. The School Support Council will meet Thursday, October 4th at 7 p.m. in the School Administration Conference Room, and the next school board meeting is Monday, October 8th, 7 p.m. right here in the Warren Green Building. And I do not believe that we have a response from last time, so will we move to citizens' time. The school board appreciates public input. However, due to time constraints, citizens' time is not a time for dialogue. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Matters relating to personal or personnel issues should not be discussed. The school board welcomes the public's comments and believes community involvement is an important component of a successful school division. When I call your name, please come to the podium. Please state your name and your magisterial district. And George Murphy.
They know that this isn't for the...
Yes, this is the citizens' time, not the public hearing time. Yes.
Hi,
Good
my
evening.
name is George Murphy. I'm from Center District. I teach biology at Fauquier High School. And I've been teaching at Fauquier, I think, for 32 years. I'm not sure. When my wife and I bought a house in Warrenton a number of years ago, we bought a very old house. And as our family grew, we needed to expand the size of the house. And so we wanted to put an addition on the back. And there's this great big holly tree in the back, really big. Our neighbor across the street who moved in 1949 said it was huge when she moved there. So we decided to build our addition around the house. And that meant a lot of adaptations, a lot of moving stuff around. And I remember one of my best friends said, why don't you just take the tree down and you can build what you want. But we really felt like a holly tree of that stature was important. And it provides us with shade year-round. And it's been something that we decided we built around it. And that kind of makes me feel the same way when I think about the wall at Fauquier High School. Actually, I'm rather, it's amazing that I have to stand up and defend keeping the wall. I just never thought that would ever be an option. That, you know, we're all very excited about the renovations at Fauquier High School. We're desperately needed. And so that's a very good thing. But to think that and I've been involved in working with the science department in terms of the addition, but I always looked at where that wall was, and it always looks like it was all going to be there. And now I find out that it's not going to be there. And to replace this wall with a window just doesn't seem like a smart move. There's a value to the wall that is, it's hard to put a monetary amount to it. It's been a meeting place for people since the beginning of the school had opened. It's 30,000 tiles that were put there in 1963 or 64, and it's a landmark. And someone said as we were going over the plans for the addition that the new building should teach. And I agree with that. And so a lot of the design in the new building is teaching about how to be environmentally responsible. But this part of the building, the old part, also teaches, because if you look at the mosaic wall, it's got every discipline that we teach: phys ed, music, art, and the works. There's test tubes there and slide rules. What are they? But it teaches where we've come from. And so it's an important part in our history. So I'd just like anybody that supports the idea of keeping the wall to please stand. Thank you. I have a petition of over 500 people. I'd like to send you a copy of that, or
Just leave it with Ms. Starr.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Melanie Birch.
That's my star. That's great.
Hello, Melanie Birch, Scott District. I actually, sorry, standing on the wall, I was told there are some interesting pictures. I'm sure you can correct me on this. I guess before 1964, we had the segregation of the schools, and one group was in Taylor and one was in Warrenton. And in '64, we finally had the integration. And I guess in that, when the school first opened, there were some pictures taken of black and white students standing in front of the mural. And I think that was when it was brought up to me, I think that was really a wonderful thing to remember, and I think that's some good historical significance to add to it. I appreciate you responding to me on the emails, and you know how I feel about the wall. I'd like to see it stay. I also wanted to ask, I know you can't respond, but basically, what's the status of the school buses? I know that we bought 4. Are we still going to lease the other buses as you discussed in the meeting, the subcommittee meeting? Where do we stand on that? And, you know.
Go ahead.
We're still working with the Board of Supervisors, and we have a liaison meeting coming up in the not-too-distant future, and that's going to be top on the agenda.
Okay.
So I would say we're getting closer to getting some sense of what we're going to be doing with that.
Okay, good. And I did pass some grant information to Paul McCullough, who said he did forward it on to the grant department, just so you all are aware of that. There's some very neat biodiesel grants out there.
I'll make sure you know when that meeting is going to be.
The 26th, I already announced it.
September
It's
26th.
26th at 5.
Thank you. That's
Yep,
it.
thank you. Rebecca Price.
Hi, how are you? Last time I saw you, I wasn't needing these. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm Rebecca Price. I am not from any district. I'm from Fredericksburg. Grew up in Cedar Run, but I'm here for the mosaic tonight. I graduated in 1978. I'm older than the wall. I like saving old things because the wall and I are about the same age. My mother taught for many years in the school. My brother and sister both attended the school. But I wanted to talk to you about what the wall did for people. And as children, our experiences, our physical environment, objects, they all cause us to formulate a sense of place. And this development allows us to compare other environments as we grow, and it's key to the integrity of our future choices. This mosaic is part of my sense of place. It's part of your sense of place, I know. My family's sense of place. It is art that lets us wonder what we would learn when we went to school there, and it would dream of what we would become. The mosaic can be saved. We can have a creative compromise. This isn't hard. It's not rocket science. There are people here who want to save it, and the impossible just takes a little bit longer. And I think we need to take our past and our history and lay it as a foundation for our children's future sense of place.
Thank you. Okay, move to reports. Start with Mr. Gord.
Great, thank you very much. I want to report on the School Health Advisory Committee. I'm very excited about where we're moving this year on a number of things. We had our first meeting, kickoff meeting last week, prioritized a number of our items. One of them is sort of making sure we refocus on the idea of the wellness champion, particularly at the elementary schools. We have put forward an idea to have a wellness champion at each school be made available. This could either be somebody who's on the faculty, a staff person, or even a parent, with the idea of being able to share best practices about wellness in each school, elementary school. This includes not just wellness and sanitation and other things and the way people eat, but also on exercise and the way that we use our time during the day. So we would really like to kind of hear from administration too, some of about the viability of that, and really looking at, the committee talked about really launching that in January, once we've identified the people and having a meeting of those people sometime in January. So to that end, I think it's a great idea. It's something that we think is very important to get health and wellness and physical activity at the forefront of some of the things the schools are integrating into their daily curriculum. So look forward to also hearing a response. We sent a letter in and kind of want to look at the viability of how we can move forward with that.
Okay. That it?
Thank you. Yep, that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Reardon.
I didn't have any meetings that I was able to attend. I have to kind of give a shout out to everybody here because I have been extremely busy in DC, and I will be until November.
Right.
So it's been a little difficult. I did go to Auburn Middle School for their back-to-school night to get input about the search for the next superintendent, and I will be at C. Hunter Ritchie tomorrow evening for their back-to-school night as well.
Right.
So.
And you'll be at
I'll be at Thompson on Thursday.
You'll be somewhere tomorrow night, won't you? I hope.
Mary Walter tomorrow.
Yes, 'cause I'll be at
Thompson on
Pearson.
Thursday.
Yeah.
And Pierce on the 20th.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted,
Yeah.
we've got 3 of them tomorrow night, and they're all covered.
Right.
Okay.
I just, same thing, we've been attending all the back-to-school nights, and they've been very productive in listening to what people have to share about a lot of things, but most importantly, qualities that they want to see in our new superintendent. So that's been great. So, but I really want to encourage everybody to email us, call us, or whatever you want to do to convey. Also on the website, is it still up on the website? Yeah, up on the website, if you front and center, if you just click on it, you can share your thoughts about the new superintendent.
It's staying up until the 18th or
Yeah, the 17th.
17th? Okay.
The 17th will be the last day.
And I think that's really it. The only other thing I just wanted to share that I just learned is that the C-SPAN bus, which I watch C-SPAN all the time and I love it, and I've never seen the C-SPAN bus where they run around and co-partner with education, and that's going to be at Liberty High School at noon on Wednesday the 12th, and also Mountain Vista Governor School is also it's going to stop there. And it's really a neat opportunity, so if you can do that, go see the C-SPAN bus. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Personnel was canceled, and building committee is canceled, so. Dr. Lewis, you have anything?
Only that this is the first school board meeting since the opening of school. Typically, we have a meeting the night of the first day. It didn't work out that way this year. So just to report that school opened smoothly and that we are moving rapidly into the fall. But it was pretty serious.
Smiling parents everywhere.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, just to give a shout out to Greg Livesey and his team. The schools look beautiful across the county. They really worked hard over the summer, so thank you to them. Ms. Kodal, financial report.
What you have before you is once again June's preliminary. They actually this afternoon closed out the fiscal year. They did make a few adjustments. I noted that we had a few pending for food nutrition. They still ended with a positive balance at the end of the fiscal year.
It's always good.
Yes, it is. So this you'll get one more final, and then we'll have the finance director come present our financial audited reports in probably November. Any questions? We did end up with a slightly higher revenue than anticipated for a couple different things. There was some VRS money that came in at the 11th hour, if you will, that was not unanticipated, so it's not a bad thing.
Right.
Excellent. That was good.
Just the note, the comment on our total, grand total, our balance for the operating fund says 1.3 million more, and it says 1.6 in that total. What's the difference there? Maybe I'm just looking at an old copy.
The 1.3 is our actual revenues over expenditures.
Okay.
The 1.6 is where we were under our
Balance.
budget.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
And a lot of what we do is we do appropriate our federal grants, and those are multi-year, so a lot of those carry over, which is why you'll see that delta between projected and actual.
Okay. Anybody else? Questions? Okay,
Sigh of
thank you.
relief.
Yes, really. Okay, you're going to be Ms. Downs, correct?
I'm going to be Ms. Downs.
Okay.
Briefly. I would like to report for Human Resources that currently we are seeking to fill 7 certified vacancies for 12-13 and 14 classified vacancies. And that's our position right now.
Yes, just let people know we're still looking for custodians.
Custodians.
And
Food-
bus drivers and food service
And
workers,
food
so.
service workers, so we
Yep.
have openings.
Yep. Okay, move to consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the school board approve the following: the minutes of the August 13th school board meeting and the August 27th special school board meeting and work session, payment of bills, personnel actions, business policy restructuring and revisions, and the Aspirations 2015 Year 3 action plans.
Second.
Motion and a second that the school board approve the following: minutes of the August 13th school board meeting and August 27th special school board meeting and work session, payment of bills, personnel actions, business policy restructuring and revisions, and Aspirations 2015 Year 3 action plans. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, and the motion carries. We move to information items, and that is Ms. Kotoff again. That's all right, she won't count it.
What you have before you is our enrollment. Our enrollment typically adjusts from the first day to the third day because of soft openings at kindergarten. And then at the first day, the Tuesday after Labor Day, it typically, again, changes. It also continues to rise until September 30th. This report is going to look different from what you'd seen. We found one school where our reporting numbers were off. They actually were completing the form but sending in last year's form. And when we realized, so that made a significant decrease at one of the schools. The other thing is, the first numbers you saw, we were looking at students in which we receive state funding, ADM. We do not receive it for pre-kindergarten. We do get federal funds for those. So these numbers are slightly higher because of pre-kindergarten. Overall, it's less than what you saw. I still believe we're on track to meet our ADM projection of 11,050 is what our funding is built on. The next report you'll get will be in October. I will show you what September 30th looks like. 4 of our funding streams are based on that number. And I'll also show you the 10-year projection based on our survival cohort method.
When are you going to do that?
October 24th work session.
Okay. So where the reporting was last year instead of...
That was Mary Walter, and they were...
But it's right on what we got.
It is.
Okay.
What you have right now is correct. We went through all the numbers. Saunders' eye caught it first, that something looked off. And when we went back, it was just an error in reporting. They had the correct numbers. They just were sending us the old ones. And it was a significant decrease from last year to this year at that one school.
Okay.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the 10-year projections, because we're 315 off of what we thought, right? This year, we're lower, 315 students lower, aren't we?
No.
130.
As of September 4th, we're 11,014.
Well, I'm looking at just elementary.
Yeah, just elementary.
I'm just looking at elementary. So
11,050 is our projected for state funding.
So we're
And
on
we
36.
think we'll be close.
We do, at this point. Last year, the decrease, last year from the day after Labor Day through September 30th, there was a 0.6% jump, or 66 students. So if we see similar jump between September 30th, we should be pretty close to the mark.
Yep.
And then we continue to see enrollment increases. Our big issue with ADM is the December graduating class because we lose a couple months of those students.
Right.
Okay, no, I'm,
Question?
The projection on the 24th of October?
Yes.
Is that going to include what work you've done with planning on the county side in terms of new building that's been approved or going in? I just want to get a sense that's...
We haven't incorporated too much of that, just in the general sense. And when I say in the general sense, what we look at is we look at a 1, 3, and 5-year cohort between 1 year and the next. So in choosing which method, which year what ratio we pick, that's based on what we know is coming out of community development. And some of those, they're on the books, and it takes a while to see them. We always do look at New Baltimore and watch what's going on there, but we don't formally incorporate any.
Okay. I'm just looking at the 3 schools, Warrenton Middle, Auburn, and then Kettle Run, where we're getting up there in those numbers, so.
Right. The other thing I will tell you is I'm almost finished going through all new capacities. So we're looking at programming at each school as it exists now. We're making some rationale that we want to bring to you and say this is when we have a school and we look at, it has an inclusion class that maybe has a ratio of 8 to 1. Every class we can't get 24 kids or what the SOQ is. So we want a methodology to bring to you. So that will, where you may see high ratios now, that may change it, because I'm noticing some of the changes from last capacity study to what I'm seeing now is significant. yes, those schools still are full, but, yeah,
They
there's no change in that,
In Warrenton
but,
Middle now, they circulate
Right.
you in a circuit
Right.
because there's so many kids in there that, you go up one stairs and go down the others. They're just, they're doing their job,
Right.
but it's just a concern.
Okay, thank you. All righty, Ms. Burgwin.
Good evening, Mrs. Grove, members of the board, Dr. Lewis. I'm here tonight in my capacity as Title I supervisor to ask that you agree to complete the certification form for Title I Part C migrant education application. Fauquier County is one of 7 school divisions that participate in the Shenandoah Valley Migrant Education Program administered through James Madison University. The consortium manages the Title I Part C grant and assists us in providing services for eligible students. As of today, Fauquier County Public Schools does not have any students who are eligible to receive these services, but should the need arise, it's good to know that we have a support system in place. Because I received some questions from Mrs. Wolf this morning regarding this, I had Ginger put an additional handout at your places with some more information about what the consortium does. Since the director of the Shenandoah Valley Migrant Education Program asked us to return the signed agreement by September 21st, I'd ask that you would move that to action this evening. Did you have any other questions?
Have we had any children?
Not recently. I work with Laura Hoover now and in the past with Amy Hatton because a lot of the children of migrant workers come through our intake center. And so we're always screening for that and looking for that. But the federal definition of what it takes to be a migrant worker involves having moved because of agricultural jobs within the past 36 months. We did, a few years back, we had someone who was formerly migrant, and that's about as close as we've gotten in my recent memory. But should we have that need, then the system kicks in and we would provide support services to keep the child in school, tutoring, et cetera.
Okay, any other questions, anybody?
No, that's great.
Okay, motion then?
I move that the school board move the Title I Education of Migratory Children certification to action item 12A for consideration for approval this evening and renumber the remainder of the agenda accordingly.
Second that.
Motion and a second that the school board move the Title I Education of Migratory Children certification to action item 12A for consideration for approval this evening and renumber the remainder of the agenda accordingly. Any discussion? All right. If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. We move to action items.
I move that the school board approve the Title I Part C Education of Migratory Children Regional Program Agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second that the school board approve the Title I Part C Education of Migratory Children Regional Program Agreement. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Is there anything else to come before the board in open session before we move to public hearing? If not, I'm going to give the staff a few minutes to exit if they would like to do so before we move to public hearing. We give you... And if there's anybody out there that wanted to speak at public hearing, you need to sign up real quick.
So you said they want... All they gotta do is write a check, $30.
Right. She's great, she's really, yeah, just tell me your name again, because I forgot. I know you gave me back the copy of it, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Come on
Okay, do we have, are our lights still working for this?
It says recording.
No, this one.
Oh, that.
Yeah, okay. Okay. This public hearing is for the purpose of receiving input from citizens with regard to the search for a new superintendent of schools. The school board is very interested in citizens' comments, suggestions, and preferences as to the qualifications of candidates for the superintendent. The school board believes it is important to receive input from the community prior to advertising the position nationally. So when I call your name, again, if you would, please state your name, your magisterial district, and 3 minutes. John Green.
Good evening, John Green, Lee District. I believe that schools have lost sight of their primary mission, educating our youth to be self-sufficient, productive citizens. 2 parts to that. To be a self-sufficient, productive student, you need a solid education, reading, writing, math, and sciences. And to be a good citizen, you need to be aware of our history, our government, how it works, economic system, and our political system. I don't believe our school system is doing as well as it should in these areas. Our schools are too involved seeking social justice and equal outcomes. So I believe we need a superintendent who will treat all students the same and not put them into ethnic groups, cultural groups, first-generation American groups, ESL groups, low socioeconomic groups, and the list goes on and on. We have to treat them all the same. They're all Americans. We need a superintendent who will concentrate on the K through 12 academics, not one seeking universal preschool programs, global partnerships, and enrichment programs for certain expecting parents. We need a superintendent that will bring a strong academic program to our schools. We need a superintendent that believes in education, not in social engineering. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie Hammond.
Hello, I'm Carrie Hammond, and I live in the Center District. I have followed the exploits of Fauquier County School Board and Superintendent with much scrutiny over the last year. This was the first year any of my children attended Fauquier County Public Schools, as my oldest began kindergarten in 2011. Wow, were my eyes opened. What we got that first year was a kindergarten class so full of children, you literally had to turn sideways to walk through the chairs. There were about 25 students in that class. The teacher and her assistant did a wonderful job trying to teach those kids, but I honestly can't imagine a school's management that would allow its employees to be set up with such an insurmountable obstacle to success. So I'm left asking, what kind of school system has the money to spend millions on a LEED Gold certified high school building upgrade, but can't spend money to appropriately teach its students? To that end, I'd like to point out some qualities I would like to see in a superintendent of schools, who I believe is at the helm of the kind of policy and fiscal decisions I just spoke about. Fairfax County Superintendent Dr. Robert Spillane, who I was under school with, had a sign on his desk that read, "The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing." I want a superintendent who keeps their eye on the main job of a superintendent, and that is the main thing of educating our children. I want someone who refuses to allow the school budget document to be formatted differently every year so that someone has to play armchair accountant to figure out where the money is going. I want someone who treats the school budget like they would treat their own money and use the same care and concern when paying for current expenses and in planning for the future. I want someone who will utilize innovations in education, but integrate online education alongside traditional education, not replace traditional education. I want someone who understands the evolution of Fauquier County and the unique challenges that it presents. Fauquier County is changing demographically, culturally, and fiscally, and with that brings challenges in integrating the ideas of those parents with the longtime county residents. A person holding public position has to understand that silence is probably the biggest compliment they will receive in terms of job performance. Silence should not be confused with disinterest, though, and I'd like to see someone who understands that and doesn't take silence as a reason to dismiss asking for public opinion. I also want our new superintendent to recognize that the life we and our children live is competitive. Children need to learn the life skills that enable them to win with integrity and how to lose with honor. I would like a superintendent who also sees the benefits of teaching our children to aim high in this world. I think the last thing we want as parents are kids who are taught that middle of the road is good enough. In short, I want a superintendent who is willing to be part of our community and see that working with us is part of a career and not just a job they have for the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hammond, where did your child go to school? What school?
PB Smith.
PB Smith. And can you email us that? Because it all went by kind of quick. So can you
I think I was
email
trying
it?
to hit
Email
my 3
it
minutes.
to Ginger?
I'll give it to Ginger, but I can email it to you all.
Or,
I'd
well,
send it to Mr.
if you give
Gordon
it to
this
Ginger,
afternoon.
she can get it to us. That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Denise Sheffer?
Good evening, I'm Denise Sheffer, I'm from the Scott District. For the new superintendent, I'm looking for the following. First, someone from outside Fauquier County who will bring a new perspective to the position. Second, a person who is in tune with the community and who will listen to the public. Third, someone who will encourage the children of Fauquier County to excel in academics, in sports, art, music, and other extracurricular activities. Fourth, a person who will think outside the box for alternative solutions before eliminating programs that the public wants to keep. And finally, someone who will have transparency in the school budget, who will involve the public in the budget process and work closely with the Board of Supervisors on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Melanie Birch?
Melanie Birch, Scott District. I have several questions, and then I want to also talk about how you all are allowing the community to input. So my questions would be, for the superintendent, what's your educational, instructional background? How do you plan to build the community consensus in support of our schools? How would you arrive at policy decisions? What's the role of public schools in Fauquier County? How should teachers and administrators be evaluated besides the initial new teacher evaluation? What changes in instruction do you forecast for FCPS in the next 10 years? How will you deal with the ineffective school administrators and teachers? Those are all very important questions to me. But I'm also concerned about the website. I think, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for trying your best to put this out to the community to say, we'd love to hear your input. But I've always been concerned about the website because when you get onto the main page, it's just this plethora of information there, and it's easy to miss the link. Even though it's highlighted in blue, it's easy for your eyes to go somewhere else. And I realize that you have some changes coming along to the pages, but maybe there's some other little splash that they could put up there to really catch your attention. So that's one thing. And the other thing that frankly concerns me are the people that simply don't have internet service or don't read the newspaper because they can't afford it. How are we going to reach those communities, those small groups that even, in Marshall don't have the internet service just because it's so lousy? Are we going to send something home through the schools so they're aware? I think it's a really important piece of paper that you could probably have the local principals send home. I think it would be a help.
It's already been taken care of.
I think,
It has?
I think in the schools that I've been, they knew I was coming and had announced that, so
And in
I
addition,
think,
Duke Glen had a
and I know
meeting.
Duke had.
Right, I know you had the
Sorry.
meetings, but in terms of getting the papers home, because we were told that you all would be at the open houses so that we could discuss whatever we wanted to discuss, not so that we could discuss the superintendents. So I know in my 3 schools, that's not how it was presented.
Okay.
However, maybe just one more little blurb would help.
Okay.
That's it, thanks.
Thank you.
Can you send that to?
Yeah, I'll just rip it off.
And Denise too? Yeah.
Laura Henson?
Hi, I'm Laura Henson. I'm from the Center District. I'd just like to say that I've just recently got involved in the school system, but I've been very happy with it, and I'm very happy with Dr. Lewis and the changes that he's made in the public school systems with the all-inclusive program, getting rid of the valedictorian, salutatorian, recognizing more students, and helping them to want to have goals to achieve. I think this has been very positive for the students. I also know that his vision has been primarily for the students, and I think that he has made a lot of really good changes for the students and for the education of our students. I would, however, like to see someone who has is able to maybe stand up to the Board of Supervisors, have a little more strength in that area. I know that the Board of Supervisors and he have had some disconnect on finances. And I know that they believe that he's a little top-heavy in the administrative part of the school board, which I may tend to agree with as well. I feel that we could make some cutbacks in administrative programs to help provide more money for the education of our students. I also feel that I believe in the public school systems, and I believe that our children are first and foremost the most important to educate them. My husband and I are quite able to send our children to private schools within this area. We visited them, we were very impressed, but we still believe in the public school system, and so far our children are receiving a wonderful education, and we are very proud of the teachers and what they are achieving at this school.
Thank you. Okay. That's all I've got signed up, so is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.